just ate my sandwich from Quick Check. It was fucking delicious.
You had what?
I went to Quick Check and got a sandwich.
Oh, nice. I
I
went.
fuck
I went. Huh?
I fucking love Quick Check sandwiches.
I like those too. Yeah. Only that. Yeah. When in Mexico, we just go to the quesadilla place, and those were good.
Mmm. Mmm. Sorry, I was agreeing with you.
Alright.
All right.
I'm again your profile so I can share it as soon as it put out there. Because we
The vid.
started a bit
Yes.
later.
Yep. The video feed is on. I'm gonna hit go live and um, we'll just wait for some people, I guess.
Yeah.
And I
Maybe
figure
we
we
should.
just go for like an hour and then call it a day.
Yeah, that's good enough. Last time we did an hour and a half. Let's yeah, let's make an hour maybe like the bare minimum for now.
Yes. We are
Alright.
live.
Yay.
Now we just wait for some viewers. It's a ghost town right now. Woo!
Yeah. Maybe we should have started because the things we say in the meantime, in the while we're not streaming, so important, at least maybe so funny, so interesting that we should let people in on it too. So next time maybe we start a bit before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and yeah, so that people can sit down and stuff, like the other bread tubers do. Why not?
Right, exactly.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just share this now on my page as well. And there we are. Awesome. And even possum.
Alrighty. So, welcome to Dystopia Now. Second,
Dystopia now.
a second glorious episode.
Yep. It's been a whole week. How does time fly?
Yep, and I still have been way too lazy to start a page, but I will do that soon.
Yeah, I was supposed to prep for this, like watch some old documentaries on the stuff. Watch my grandpa John Pilger, God rest his soul, talking about Palestine, how it's still the issue. Nice
Yeah,
title, because Palestine is still the issue.
yeah,
It
I've
never
seen.
wasn't the issue. I was born and it had been an issue for decades still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now it's like kind of disappearing from the news, and that's really sad because the genocide is still going on.
It's still going on. Not even the bombings have stopped. The people burning alive and the children dying. Just in case anyone forgot, because yeah, nothing has changed. But I guess when they talk about peace and conflict and all that, they just mean like the news feed. Like once we sign this paper, you're gonna see less about this in the
Yeah,
news. And that also means that things are okay, maybe. I don't know. I guess they don't expect anyone to expect a big resolution, or maybe he's still working on that. It's a nice system of pacing things on top of everything else that's happening. It's such a nice, comfy job to have. You can distract people so easily. You have the news and all that. And you can call it fake news. Anything you don't like, you call it fake news. And,
there are no
well,
Palestinian kids dying. That's fake news.
we just take over the place, build a casino, we make it the Riviera Maya. Whatever. I'm getting mad at myself for speaking like that.
Yeah. Before I jump into the real meat of the episode, there's a couple of things I want to announce. One, happy Hanukkah to everyone who celebrates.
Right.
Um, and number two, congratulations to Charlie Kirk for not saying anything racist in 3 months.
A whole 3 months now,
A
eh?
whole 3 months, not a single racist thing he said.
You see, people can change. I didn't
Yeah,
think he had it in him, but Charlie Kirk has indeed gone without saying a racist thing in a whole 3 months.
yeah. It's
Good
a
for him.
it's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah. Maybe
Um,
his wife is making up for that while she gives interviews and stuff, but yeah. Well, he
why,
left us so many memes. So many memes.
while she goes on a grieving tour with fireworks and large stages and large lights. Uh,
It
uh,
reminds me, it's a weird thing to say, but it reminds me a bit of Gone with the Wind. Yeah, when this woman, Scarlett O'Hara,
yeah,
her husband that she married just out of spite, just to make some other guy jealous, dies, and she doesn't want to be a widow, but
and
she has to play the part. Gotta keep the appearances. But yeah,
yeah,
having a great time in the movie. Yeah, the guy wasn't as rich and famous and all that, and yeah, I don't know how much of the money the Charlie's net worth was, but yeah, she must not be doing bad. I'm sure she's. When people were like, "Oh, but the wife and kids," yeah, you think they're gonna like starve now? Nah, I don't worry about that.
last thing I
Especially, yeah.
last thing I want to announce is that last night I watched one of my favorite movies of all time,
I'm gonna play
and
with your glass.
it is The Princess Bride, and it was directed by the late Rob Reiner.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I just saw that movie with my girlfriend like a little while ago, and
Yeah,
I didn't know that was the guy
yep,
that directed them.
it was Rob Reiner, and it's really sad that he passed. He made a lot of really great movies,
Yeah, probably some other movies that I watched, and I just didn't know it was him.
like Misery.
But oh, right now, Mystery is great. We gotta
Yeah.
watch that one next.
So,
So
so I wanted to make the case against Zionism here because I thoroughly despise Zionism. Um, I don't think it helps Jewish people at all. I think it does nothing but damage to the reputation of Jewish people around the world. In
yeah, that's unfair.
addition, in addition to creating settler colonial violence in the land of Palestine.
Yeah,
Um, I don't see any benefit whatsoever to the ideology, although you will see a lot of pro Zionist types defend it as, like, oh, well, it's just so that Jewish people can have a place to live, even
yeah,
though they're ignoring the fact that Jewish people have always been diasporic, which means that they've always lived all around the world.
yeah. It kind of comes with a combo of not having a land of your own, which is what they're selling this with. That's the whole because they had like a little phrase that they would say for that a land for a people, land without people for people without a land, right.
Yeah,
Only that there was people there, but you have to consider, I guess, brown people in order to acknowledge their existence, right? So
right.
a land for a people with no land, a land with no white people for white people with no land, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Or a land with no white people for white people who already had land but abandoned it to come here.
Yeah, or yeah, not even abandon it. So who knows? They can make it work. Have their
Like Netanyahu was born and raised in what, Philly?
I heard he was Polish, but I don't know
You know, he
about.
looks Polish.
Yeah, well, I don't know. White people look all the same to me, but yeah, I don't remember whether he lived in. Yeah, my husband is a better looking of them all, of course, but same.
Ooh.
I mean, um, nah, he's just here eavesdropping on me. So, um, yeah, sucks. So these people from Brooklyn is are living now in Palestine took over some granny's house and said, "Yeah, we lived here like 3,000 years ago. Maybe not even, not really, but
Yeah.
I want more." That's basically it. I want more. It's like colonization now in the 21st century. It's a bit, what do the people that went to school call it, anachronistic. It just looks
Hmm.
bad. But that's why the United States is doing it through Israel, so that they are not the ones getting all that blame put on them, or just facing the consequences of trying to colonize a land, um, like now, this time and place, in front of the whole world with the internet. Because that's how it started for me, right? I am traumatized about the crazy deep um, lollipop, right? The food one. Um, because the first time I had one of those, I was watching like a video showing all the picture from Abu Ghraib,
Mm.
right? I'm hope
Hmm.
I'm pronouncing that correctly, or at
I
least
I think you did.
people, yeah, people know what I meant. Yeah, the torture camp in Iraq and all them pictures with the lady on top of the bodies and all that. It was an ugly sight. I just guess I needed to see that so I could grow up like Chavez. Growing up in the times of Chavez, I could not um know about history because it was there on the TV. Guy was a good yeah, right. I think I like it that the internet is on and all that, and now people from all over the world are able to see the kind of thing that I was exposed to, and that I can share it with them. This is like being Venezuelan is very like this is a good time for starting to speak up on the interwebs and all that.
Yeah.
Because if because of the revolution that I was able to see and like see the honest truth about what the United States is doing and all that. Because I love America culture. As colonized as the next gal. I love the Sandlot. I love Slim Jims. But now I know about Abu Ghraib and Iraq and all that. It sucks.
Yeah, we gotta
Sucks. I don't
change
like
the
it.
we change the phrase from as American as apple pie to as American as Slim Jims.
Yeah, a
But you
Slim
bring
Jim.
but you bring up a really good point. That like Israel is America's mini me. You know, like America
Yeah,
is Doctor Evil and Israel is mini me.
yeah,
And
and I think
and,
that's necessary to
and
to to
yeah.
say from the beginning on, because the main, I think we're past the point where we can all agree, at least people who are not like crazy evil or dumb, I don't know, or a combination of the two,
Mhm.
that yeah, the Israelis are not like the good guys here. It's not. You know what's funny to me? I was talking about this earlier. Like, yeah, it's not a colonization project. It's not a racist thing. Why are they putting Israel in Eurovision? That's a bit weird. You didn't
Right.
need to do that. I don't know, because I don't know what the problem with the Europeans
It's
is,
because they're
right?
white.
but but yeah, Eurovision kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
like
the
it's
I
like
like
what
the
Chris Rock
Eurobeat.
once said.
Yeah.
Chris Rock once said, "If it's all white, it's all right."
Brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant. I like that one. Yeah, is that who I saw in the Epstein files? No, wait, was it
Chris
Chris
Rock.
Rock? I
I mean,
I would think it was Chris Rock.
well, the funny thing about the Epstein files is that they're taking all the Republican and conservative names out of it right now. Like they're scrubbing it.
Yeah, the redaction is like, wow,
It's
go
like
through all this
16
black
pages
tape.
of nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Trump saw the thing and went like Amy Winehouse, right? No, wait, no, she's back to black. The Rolling Stones did paint it black. Yeah, he
Hmm.
just wanted to paint it black, which is like, yeah, that's what we are hoping. That's what we get. Like some pictures of famous people with and Jeffrey Epstein and pretty much all the famous people were there because I guess they have to party. I can imagine like being famous and being told by someone like, "Hey, this guy is gonna throw a party. You wanna come?" And I don't think I'm gonna be cured of like not being able to say no and go to parties that I don't wanna go. If I am rich and famous, it would be easy for me to draw the line when it comes to people like those, right? I wouldn't be in that party. I don't know what Noam Chomsky's context, the
Yeah,
circumstances were. But I'm like, yeah, it's kind of easy not to be there. It's kind of easy not to be there.
exactly.
So yeah.
What do you think about Epstein being Mossad?
You know what? I don't know. It could be, it could not be. It's
I
not that
think
relevant, I think.
I agree with you. I think it doesn't really matter because, rich people are going to control the world regardless of whether they're being controlled by
Yes,
Mossad or
you're
CIA,
right.
But
Yeah.
CIA is the big controller.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it's not about who or where, it's why. And yeah, you can talk about anything you want about the whole religious aspect of it, of the ethnic thing, but we live in the system that makes sure these things happen just because of the way the whole
Yeah.
thing is structured, right? There is a market. There is a market for these kind of things to happen, and and there is a market for other things that are not like minors and I don't know, kidnap people um that were, yeah, right. And
Yeah.
capitalism is gonna make sure that those markets are, you know, you gotta profit from it. You know the money that thing. I've been researching on this stuff for a long time, and it's hard to separate things, like when they went crazy with the Pizzagate stuff and all
Hmm.
that. There's some truth to it. The whole picture. I'm not talking specifically about that case, right? But they're things like what happened in Omaha, Nebraska. Again, it involved like a house for boys, for like orphans. It was like a religious thing, kind of also. Boys Town, it was called, in Omaha, Nebraska, and all that happened there. And some Republicans were involved. There's some guy called Larry King.
Hmm.
Not that one, right? Not the one from that
Not the
died. That
famous
one.
host. Yeah.
Not the famous host. Some Lawrence King, some Republican guy that was very good at singing. Would go like, "Oh, say, can you see?" Whoa. Right? But yeah, he was friends with everyone that was like bad in that sense, like George Bush, probably, yeah, senior, right? And probably Jeffrey Epstein was involved. Maybe not yet. Maybe it was not this time. But this business has been going on for a while, even
Right.
before Jeffrey Epstein, and it's gonna be there even afterwards. Because Hollywood's still there too, and
Yeah.
these guys are just like scapegoats, like Harvey Weinstein was, because they want this to be a big deal. They want Epstein to be a big deal and people to be fighting over some files, but that's not gonna bring down the whole structure of why this is happening and who's profiting from it.
Right.
And it's the only people who can afford these kind of things. And yeah, they're gonna have us fighting over this and all them little things, but it is much bigger than what's seen here, and it's like Israel is just a thing of money. It's just
Right.
what this system does.
A
And
lot of
Israel,
people.
yeah,
A
mm,
lot of people are confused over who's in charge in the world, and some people think Israel is in charge of the U.S. government
hmm,
or infiltrating the U.S. government. But the reality is, Israel doesn't do anything without the express approval of the
yes,
United States.
yes, same thing with Ukraine. Like you wouldn't think Ukraine controls the US because it gets a lot of free money and weapons from America, right? So
Yeah,
it's that easy. It's that easy to see what the relationship is like with Israel and the US.
yeah. The capitalist class in the U.S. are in charge of all these decisions because the capitalist class in the U.S. is the one primary benefactor of all the profits of all the wars that are happening around the world, from Israel, the
Yeah.
conflict in Ukraine and Russia. These are all the profits are going to U.S. capitalists. They have a vested interest in making sure these things happen. They have a vested interest in making sure that Israel keeps starting wars with all kinds of other Arab countries
Mm-hmm.
because it's for the benefit of US capitalists. The US capitalists are not it's not like they have their hands tied behind their back. and they're like, oh, we couldn't do anything. Israel is just so out of control. They're not listening to us. They're doing exactly what the U.S.
They do
capitalists
that.
want them to
They
do.
like playing that game though. Just like they're doing with Zelensky in Ukraine. They're like, we're trying to convince Zelensky to accept a deal with Russia, but Zelensky isn't cooperating. They own the guy. They own the whole place. Yeah,
Yes.
Zelensky will get in trouble if he did something that was like real bad for Ukraine. Like the people that work with him, like the banderites, the some of the more hardcore people. That's what he would have to face. Um, if he has to make a not make a choice, but do as he's told, right? And you're gonna come to that at some point because it's only happening because they get the money and the weapons. Same thing with Israel. Like America existed before Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what they came to be and took over the biggest, most powerful, biggest military. Like what you were saying. Why are the Americans like who's in charge? Who's in charge? It's capital. It's capitalism. But America is like the country that is like king capitalist, right?
Yeah,
It used
the
to be the
empire.
yeah, it used to be the British, right? It all started with what the East India Company and all that, and America is just like yeah, they offshored the empire to another continent to
Mm-hmm.
like put a foot there. You could trace it back like to the Brits, because again, the Brits were like in charge of Palestine at the time, and that's why so many people are like, yeah, well, there never was a Palestine because that was the Brits were in control there, so there wasn't a Palestinian state because suddenly it's all about that, about nation states, which again is funny because yeah, and how old is modern Israel?
Mm-hmm.
So then they go with the argument, oh, but 3,000 years ago, yeah, these people were also like 3,000. These people you can actually trace back like 3,000 years ago, probably to have been living there.
Yeah.
At least many of them. Definitely more than the people claiming. Because all you need to say is that you're Jewish, right? And then you get a free plane ticket to Israel. Because that's the thing. You need to populate the place. You need to make it legitimate. That's what the UN did. And again, we know who controls the UN, mostly, kinda. And yeah, it was a I know the Soviet Union recognized the thing at the moment. They thought that they could be the ones who, because Israel wasn't sold from the beginning like what it is now. Like we want to take over the whole place and more, like places in Lebanon,
Yes. The Greater
my
Israel
Lebanon.
Project, right?
Yeah, right. And it's like, come on, man. I have some Lebanese blood in me. I'm like, some of that is mine. So you're stealing my stuff in Lebanon, you're stealing my stuff in Venezuela, and all for the same reason. Same reason there, all the way there in Israel. It's just that it's farther. It's farther. That's why they need a foothold there. And Israel is not the only one. It's just like the most obvious one. But like Jordan and Egypt and the Gulf Emirate things, this whole thing that's happening, the massacres in Sudan, it's all connected and it's the same people. And yeah, at the top of it is America, because yeah, the guys that have been playing this game the longest and making the most money and getting the most powerful are American or American based. You can just like if you make enough money, you can become American, and if you are racist enough, you can become American and vote and run for president and work in the government. We know that now because of
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk. So yeah, it's all about that. It's very easy to see now. This is important to know because it's so easy to see now. Israel is a country that gets bombed by Iran and these other people, and yeah, like Hamas, like October 7th. Israel is the one like having to take the blows to the face, not the U.S. See how that works? No, does
Yeah.
it? Can you see why? So it's not that hard to get.
It's not that hard to understand that Israel is ultimately doing the bidding of the US. And back to another point that you were saying, the idea that you can just claim, you can be like, well, I'm Jewish, so I can go to Israel and just get all these extra rights above the indigenous people that are already there regardless of whether or not they're actually Jewish, because there were Jewish Palestinians and they get trampled on too.
Of
It,
course,
if
yes.
you're Jewish and you're against the colonization and against genocide, you get roughed up by the IOF.
You're
Even
not a good Jew.
yeah, exactly. So this idea that we're racializing Jewish people or racializing Jewishness to justify this, to me, feels anti-Semitic. It feels anti-Jewish to be able to just say that all Jewish people are an ethnic group now, and they have a God-given right to land that people were already living on. I think it does a lot of damage to the Jewish name all around the world. Like there are reports from that of rising anti-Semitism in the world, which you and I know what it really is a rise of anti-Zionism because people are seeing the Zionist project for what it is. But for those who don't understand that, what they see is they see Jewish people committing a new Holocaust against Palestinians, and they're like, oh, those Jews are doing it, so Jews are monsters who are committing genocide. Which it's, on its face, why wouldn't somebody believe that when that's all they're told? When they're told that all this massacre, all this settler colonialism is done in the Jewish name, why wouldn't people be anti-Semitic? I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't believe that Jewish people are responsible for this violence. I believe that the Zionist settlers, Israeli settlers, are responsible for the violence. But the problem is with the conflation of Zionism and Judaism, I understand would create an anti Semitic sentiment in a lot of areas of the world. And we have to fight that. We have to fight the conflation of those two things.
Yeah, I think we can all catch up. I think the resources are out there, and maybe it's just that it's just like communism, right? It's something that's been there's a context. There's a whole context about it. There's something that are said about them, and they are not good, especially around people that are not educated. And that happens a lot with here in Latin America, for example. There's not like at least the places that I've lived in. Um, you don't get to meet a bunch of Jewish people. I think I never did until I moved here to Mexico. But um, the image, like the what people know here about Jewish people sometimes, especially in Mexico, because I've been seeing this more and more. It's like the friggin' 4chan Jewish man cartoon, rubbing his hand. That's pretty much
Oh,
saying
the
sucks.
benevolent
Yeah,
shopkeeper.
yeah.
That's what they
So
call that. They
yeah.
call that trope. Yeah, that
Mhm.
trope is really disgusting, and I don't like seeing pro-Palestine people using it.
No, mm-mm, no. But that's what we're talking about here, right? And that's the thing that we have to make like a double the fight because yes, of course, people are gonna conflate the two things. Because if you get your information from what you're told on the media like that, I can only imagine like being an American, being in the middle of um I don't know, Bud City, Wisconsin, munching on some cheese, looking at the TV set, and then I'm like, okay, the Jewish people, um, I'm just like speculating here, like, well, like we said, right? They have been persecuted for a very long time and all that. True, the pogroms here in Europe, wherever they go, um, and then World War II happens. The Nazis are again, and I want to come back to that because the propaganda that they used against Jewish people around that time and even before, but the Nazis were so good at propaganda. We know, like they put a lot of stuff out there that some people sometimes, especially here in South America, will not even notice that they're repeating um, Nazi anti-Semitic tropes.
Hmm.
Like I'm gonna go there right now. There was like a this Gen Z, this loosely put together, quote unquote, spontaneous. It's an Arab Spring. We all know it's like an Arab Spring um, trend that's been going politically. So a bunch of a very eclectic group of political trends gather. For example, here in Mexico City to protest. Um, why exactly? I don't even remember because it reminds me also of the protest in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
That's people that are angry and don't like the government. And that's as far as it gets. That's what the sign that they hold say, and that's about it. So I was we're looking at it, and yeah, there were some graffitis on the walls calling the president, Claudia Sheinbaum, um, yeah, Jewish whore and things like that. There were some swastikas waving in the crowds too, and I have to still argue with some people about. I had to quote Lenin on I don't remember what it was, but yeah, you want to associate yourself with people that know what they're doing, right? You want to have a, like the old saying goes, if there's a Nazi in your movement and nobody's kicking the shit out of him, you're at the Nazi rally, pretty much.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that was
exactly.
rampant. So a bunch of people are confused, don't know who to blame, and they have all this propaganda, even from decades ago, centuries ago, made there like an easy read, an easy clickbaity video that gonna again conflate some things, and they will do this, equate Judaism to Zionism, or imply that all Zionists are Jews, which is not the case, right?
Most Zionists are Christians.
Yeah, so that is something that's like a fact and should make you think. Because at the end
Yeah,
of the day, when people are making, as always, saying, oh, the Jews control the government and Hollywood and the banks, and yeah, is it because they're Jewish, or is it because they're capitalists? Like, are there not people that are not Jews doing the same things? Yeah,
yeah.
I just an old friend of mine who isn't like a big friend anymore because he just wanted to die on that hill. Um, I told him, yeah, but I can see what you're saying. Yeah, the guy's last name ends in Steen
Mm-hmm.
or Auski or something like that. But why are you focusing on that? Like, why are you? You could do that about any other ethnic, religious background that anyone else could have. So there's like a predisposition to like target the Jewish people because oh yeah, they're a minority, but they control this and that's how far they think about it, and that's
Yeah,
just not the correlation is in causation. I don't know, so many things. It's easy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, some capitalists who control things happen to be Jewish. Some of
Uh
them
huh.
are Christian. Some of them are atheist. But the anti-Semites' prescription here is to what? Replace the Jewish capitalists with Christian capitalists? Is that's gonna make everything better? No, because they lack class analysis.
Yep, pretty much it. Which some people do actually want. But we're
Yeah,
talking liberals here, so there's a bunch of other bad stuff that they believe too.
yeah,
But if we're like talking about us in the quote unquote left or people who claim to be that, we cannot be falling for that stuff
right.
this many centuries after the fact. Like I got in such an argument, such a big argument with a page called Trans Memes for uh, Babes something, and they were calling me a Zionist. So you also have to like fight, go
Wow.
the way. It's like a 360 thing. I'm denouncing Zionism, then I have to talk about Zionism and what I get from doing that analysis or saying how how I think how I think things are, and it's like factual, right? I'm not even making nothing up. They start calling me a Zionist. kind of losing the plot here, right? Because
Yeah, to call someone a Zionist for defending Jewish people is the same kind of conflation that anti-Semites do. The way I see it, we have two fight. If we're gonna fight Zionism, we have two fights we have to fight. Right? We have to fight Zionism, and we have to fight anti-Semitism at the same time.
yes, yes, it's in many such cases, right? We have to do this um juggling of concepts and ideas all the time. Well, once you get the dialectics down, it's easier to see it, but then explaining it, it's like, yeah, that would be a long TED talk. But I wanna go to like actual policy papers that, if in case, and I'm gonna leave this in the comments later. There's recently there was a policy paper called "Which Path to Persia." I'm reading it right now. This was put out by. It's called "Which Path to Persia: Options for a New American Strategy Towards Iran." It's written by Kenneth M. Pollack, Daniel L. Byman, Martin. Okay, a bunch of people. Brookings Institution Press, Washington D.C. Okay. So this is like the table of contents. Part one: dissuading Tehran, the diplomatic options. An offer Iran shouldn't refuse, persuasion. Tempting Iran, the engagement option. Which I haven't, again, I didn't do my research. I haven't read the whole thing, but this is clearly like what they've been doing with Iran. Oh, we're talking to the Iranians. We're making a deal, like the nuclear deal, and we're talking here and there again. And the Iranians also, like, they kind of also keep falling for that because, yeah, they bombed them in Syria, just like they bombed Palestinian negotiators in Qatar. Who would
Hmm.
have thunk, right? Like
Yeah.
I said, Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, um, they are doing the same thing that Israel is doing, and some other things, but they're just like the satellites. They're even like lower in the ladder. Okay, disarming Tehran, military options. This is the thing, right? They put this out there too, so we have like no excuse because I'm reading literally them. Okay, we go all the way to disarming Tehran. There's a chapter 5. It's called "Leave It to Bibi," literally
Yes, I've
allowing.
seen that.
Yeah, I posted this a while back when this whole thing started, and seeing for some people it wasn't enough. It says allowing or encouraging an Israeli military strike. You see, when you control a country, it's usually the one, the top, right, the dominant guy, um, is the one that allows or encourages a behavior, right? So leave it to Bibi, allowing an Israeli military strike. I don't even think I need to say more, but I'm gonna leave it there. I
Yeah,
might read a bit of it in a bit, but yeah. What do you
that
think about
that
that? It's all there. It's all there in the papers.
that sounds great, and it sounds like a smoking gun as far as understanding that the U.S. benefits from Israel being its shield. Like Israel is a shield against, claiming like for example, if the U.S. was going to bomb Iran like Israel's doing, we would never get away with it the same way that Israel is getting away with it. That's so Israel. It's like
Yeah, and
it gets to be the aggressor. It gets to be take all the flack. It gets to take all the brunt, and the U.S. just gets to sit back and profit from it.
yeah, yeah. Just a second. In case anyone heard that and was like, "Oh, but America did end up bombing Iran." Yeah. When exactly? After Israel did it first and was like, America, help, help, I'm getting blown to bits, right?
Right?
So
Yeah.
let's not lose sight of that in case anyone is like, oh, but the Americans. Yeah, and again, just I want to add this. This is what I think that eventually could happen in Venezuela as well, because again, with everything that we've been talking about, we know also the context here and why Venezuela is. You see all that commotion that's going on over there, right?
Hmm.
And with Russia and with these other countries and oil being involved, there's the prices of oil are also like an indicator. And let's just say you don't want the prices of oil to be too high. America don't like that. And you could also not have to worry too much about that if you owned Venezuela's oil reserves. Just saying, just add that there. Okay.
Yeah, and they claim they're making the false claim that by having oil and not letting it be corrupted by corporations in America, that they are somehow stealing the oil from America. They're claiming that Venezuela is committing theft by
Yeah, that was
not
crazy to
by
see.
nationalizing their own oil.
Yeah, like same thing. I feel I'm like, wow, we're just like Cuba now. I'm waiting for them to start saying we have like nukes from I don't know the
Yeah,
Iranians, the North Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese. It might come down to that because they're so shameless. They don't even need. I think they're letting AI do their policy stuff too.
I
Cause
wouldn't doubt it because the Pentagon's using AI now.
yeah, I mean the whole economy is hanging on to the AI raft and well, let's just say there's a bubble. There's a bubble bubbling up, and nobody but them, and even them, I don't know. We could all get hurt from this. Just
Yeah,
say, and that don't make me happy. It's not worth it. It's yeah,
Going
um,
back to Zionism though,
yeah.
like I think Zionism itself, and this is maybe a controversial thing to say, but I think Zionism is a form of fascism, just like Nazism is a form of fascism, just like there's U.S. style fascism, which I don't know if I would call it MAGA B style of fascism,
Yeah,
because I don't know if I don't know what we would call that, but Zionism is its own form of fascism because fascism is colonialism turned inward.
I don't think. Yeah, I
Instead
don't
of
think it's.
colonizing somewhere else, you're now recolonizing your own country.
I think it's safe, and I'd say that very, uh, you know, feeling at ease, saying that that's not it shouldn't be controversial, especially when there is a big part of it like it's an ethno state, right?
Yes.
The whole point of it is being a Jewish project. So there's clearly an implication there. And besides what we all know, right? Because between the apartheid style division, these checkpoints that um, make the whole of whatever the Palestinians have like a grill of interconnected Israeli checkpoints where women have to give birth to their babies if they're lucky. They all make it out alive of there. But um, saying that Zionism is another iteration of fascism, yeah, I wouldn't call that a stretch. Even if you want to throw some other um, regimes or states in the back, like you could say the same about the India right now with Modi
Modi, yeah.
and everything that's behind the way that they. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it, but yeah, it's
Did
not a stretch, and I think you're right there. Yes,
did you know I was told once that anti-Zionism is fascism? Can you believe that?
anti-Zionism is fascist.
Now
I would like to listen to that YouTube
here's
50
the
minute essay
here's the
trying to
funny
yeah.
thing. The funny thing about that is that there are Nazis who are anti-Zionist for anti-Semitic reasons because they conflate the two. And then there are Nazis who are pro-Zionist because, for the same reason that Christian Zionists are in favor of Zionism, because they want all the Jews to be thrown into Israel,
Mm-hmm.
so that the end time prophecies can happen and all the Jews
Yes.
die.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
anti-Semitic. Christian Zionism is probably the most anti-Semitic form of Zionism.
yeah, yeah. And it's like they're allies, right? And these are like the actual ideological, I mean, or even secular Zionists.
Hmm.
Um, Nothing beats beats those people who actually believe the whole Messiah religious prophecy stuff. Because yeah, they see them like lambs going on a conveyor belt to the slaughter.
Hmm.
But you know, that very same way of thinking is what gets these people the support that they have. And yeah, it's such a funny retroactive feedback loop there. Like, again, and this is not a stretch or nothing, some a bunch of Zionists were very happy about the things the Nazis were doing. And even before the
Yes.
World War II started, like peaked on the atrocity that people knew what the Nazis were doing with their Red Army liberated the camps and Auschwitz and all that. Um, yeah, of course the Zionists were profiting from that and being in talks with the Nazis, had the Havara agreement and all
I
that.
was just gonna bring up that same thing. I'm glad you brought it up. The Hazara Agreement.
Yeah, because we have to remember, like, Nazism didn't come from nowhere. I don't want us to think about just like 1941 onwards. Like that was cooking up. And again, let's not forget that the Nazis based their, again, the ethnic, racial, eugenic playbook from the Americans,
Hmm.
just like Lebensraum was inspired on the Manifest Destiny thing.
Yes.
That again, it's been um, brought back again. We all know, we in the know of these things know that it never went away. But they're the Trump administration especially is very outspoken about, yeah, manifest destiny and the Monroe Doctrine is back and we're gonna take care of our backyard. And Jim from The Office is talking about Venezuela and Jack Reacher, and now everyone knows my country. You know,
Yeah.
we weren't this big on the news like some decades ago, and I like that a bit. Whenever Venezuela came up somewhere, I'm like, "Ooh, Venezuela mentioned." I was no different than a Turk. And then and then and then the whole thing, like 2002, they tried to do the coup with Chavez. They took him out for a bit. They had a little taste of what that could have been, but they got busy. They were doing the war on terror thing, which related, but they were busier. They were busier. But now, and after 2016, after the whole Guaido thing, it, the consent has been. I mean, we've been mentioned enough ever since the time of Chavez to like connect. Cause let's not forget, and Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado said this, so I know it's true. Hamas and Hezbollah are in Venezuela making, sounds like an American joke. Like a Hamas agent and a Hezbollah agent go to a drone factory in Venezuela, and yeah, I don't have a punchline for that. But that's
Okay.
how they're selling this. So it's all connected, and this is why Venezuela and Iran and North Korea and Nicaragua and Cuba and they all are connected in this
Yes.
network of narco, terrorist, anti-Semitic. Um, I'm running out of things. Um,
Well,
and also they stole our oil and hid it below their soil. Bastards,
yeah, bastards.
Venezuelans, man, hate
How
them.
dare they hide? How dare they have their own oil? Yeah, like but the Havara Agreement. You had
Mhm.
the earliest Zionist groups literally have a Havara Agreement with the Nazis
Yeah.
to deport the German Jews to colonize Palestine.
Yeah.
And
Oh Jews,
and and
please come to
and
Palestine.
and the
Where are you
German
going?
Jews, right? And the German Jews who couldn't afford to go there, they were holocausted, and the Zionist groups didn't really care about that. In fact, they decided to take that tragedy and politicize it to justify the colonization of Palestine, which I think is really, really sick. If you care about
It's
the plight of
yeah,
Jewish people, then you really should not be letting some of them be Holocausted. You really should have just honestly brought all the Jewish refugees somewhere where they were safe, like I don't know, anywhere else.
yeah,
But the
like
United, but the
America,
right,
like many
exactly.
times the
But
boat will get there and they would be sent back, and it's back to the
yeah,
camps.
yeah, the United States rejected Jewish refugees during the
Yes.
Holocaust,
Uh-huh.
just like how they reject other refugees from other
Of
war torn places.
other countries that they themselves destroy. Yeah.
Right. Um, so, Zionism going all the way back to its founding, you can't blame Zionism and the colonization of Palestine on the Holocaust because Zionism predates the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm. The Holocaust was just convenient for them to
Yeah.
happen.
Speaking of subversion, do you know what the Hannibal Directive is?
Yeah. Yeah. No pun intended. I didn't want to beat on a dead horse there, but this is the kind of thing that I want to assume everyone else knows about, so I don't have to talk about it. Because man, it's bleak, some green stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, and that happened in October 7th. Like they don't talk about that much. Like they don't
Yep.
talk much about. Remember when they were so? We did not bomb that hospital. I did not bomb that hospital. And then after a while, it got normalized. Everyone got used to it, and yeah, that was it.
Yeah, the
But
the funny thing about it is Israel does not let international investigators investigate October 7th. Probably because
mhm,
they would
mhm.
find out that most of the deaths, if not all of them, were caused by the Israeli military.
Yep.
And then they promptly blamed it on Hamas in order
Uh-huh.
to justify, entering Gaza and committing all the atrocities that you see on a daily basis.
If it was so up to them, they would have killed all their own hostages too, and
Yes.
we got to see some of that as well. Even from the survivors, you would find some from the people that made it back say the very same thing. So that's something else that is, I hope, is not a big secret and we are all in the know. Just a little piece of the bigger puzzle, yeah.
Yeah, but guess who gets anti Semite of the year? Fucking Miss
Ah,
Rachel. Miss
did she get the
Rachel.
anti-Semite of the year? I thought she
Yes.
just got nominated. That's like being nominated to a Razzie.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure Miss Rachel was anti Semite of the year according to was it ADL or Stop Anti Semitism?
it makes sense. She's like very popular with all kinds of people, if you, especially from children ups, right? So I can see why they target her. They're targeting her. Yeah, because the main thing that people are criticizing of this thing, even the ones who that don't want to see it, like the people who are so isolated that the first like televised death gore moment that they watched was not Abu Ghraib was eating
Yeah.
a crazy deep like me, but Charlie Kirk getting a piercing. So
He got a neck piercing.
he got a net piercing. Hmm.
That's it. Oh no, I mean he wasn't shot to death. He was it was lead poisoning. It was a pre-existing condition.
Yep, he was high on fentanyl. The bullet only like finished the job, but he was already dying right there and there.
Yeah, pretty much.
If anything, sucks because put it out of his misery too soon.
Yeah, but like
But better than nothing.
Zionism gives Judaism such a bad name. Like
It's not fair. It's not fair.
I know Jewish people. I know that they are very great. Just like anybody else, there can be good people and bad people on any side.
Any
But
side.
like,
Yeah, well,
but from what I understand, Judaism is love, and I think Zionism is hate.
yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah, in comparison, anything is love compared to Zionism.
I think
It's,
anti-Zionist Jewish people are like some of the bravest people
yeah,
in their communities. and
Yeah.
they get trampled on ideologically, they get trampled on verbally. Sometimes, a lot of times, they get attacked physically by
Yeah.
like I said, by
Terrorist.
the by IOF. But like, those are the people
Even in
that
Israel.
we
Uh huh.
should be listening to, is Jewish anti-Zionists, because they can tell you. Hell, Albert Einstein was a Jewish anti-Zionist.
Mm-hmm.
So there
Yep.
you go.
Comrade Einstein. That's right.
It's I'm glad more people are waking up to the reality of the situation, and like you said, I think seeing the death and destruction on a daily basis has really radicalized a lot of people against Zionism. But
Yeah.
I think it is our job as people who are informed on colonization, settler colonialism, etc., to steer the newly radicalized people in the right direction. And the
Yes.
right direction is to have them understand that our fight is a two-front fight, against Zionism and against anti-Semitism.
Yes. Yes. Very much so. It is that because we need to do that because there's not many people who are saying the things that we are saying in the way that we are saying it, and it's confusing. I get it that it can be a bit confusing, but it's not rocket surgery. With everything that we said here alone, is
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
Gonna post
like
some things in the comments, but
yeah. I
like
mean,
what?
like, if I was somebody who hated Jewish people, I would love what Israel is doing right now,
Yeah,
because it would give me the perfect excuse to turn around
yeah.
and say, "Look what those Jews are doing! Look what they're doing to those poor
And I
Palestinians!"
see that, and I've seen that because I used to spend a lot of time in 4chan,
Yeah,
and yeah, I I sadly did that, and now I know. I know what we're dealing with. It's kind of dire.
yeah. It mirrors it, like we said already. It mirrors exactly what the Nazis did in Germany. It mirrors exactly what the American settlers did, or the European settlers in here in the states. Um, it's like colonization, settler colonialism, fascism. They always have the same. It's maybe different flavor, or maybe different flavors, but it's the same product.
Hmm.
And we need to break these things down to their bare roots. And breaking them down to their bare roots means getting people to understand the horrors of settler colonialism, and what fascism is and how it works. Because there's
Yes.
so many people spreading around erroneous lies about what Zionism is. They spread
Hmm.
around lots of lies conflating Zionism and Judaism. And I've even seen some people claim that they're decolonized, because, like, I've seen some Jewish folks claim that they're decolonized, because of the colonization of Palestine. And that blows my mind. How can you call yourself decolonized when you're a settler?
Yeah.
Especially off the backs of those who are actually being colonized.
Like right now. Yeah. And not only in Palestine, but also
Right.
mainly. Yeah.
It's one,
That's like the
it's just,
most naked, most embarrassing, most out in the open example of
yeah.
what America has been doing in the rest of the world. And again, England, Spain, and because yeah,
Where else?
let's
Yeah.
yeah, like let's not do the great man of history thing, but not do the great country of history because that's not how it works either. And I think some
Right.
people are falling for that.
I believe in people over profits, for one, and I believe in people over nations.
Exactly. That's why the
And
whole nation state,
yes,
Palestine wasn't a real state. Yeah, that's not gonna fly because this isn't what that's about.
which means, if we're gonna fight for people around the world, which I think we should, we have to understand who's on what side. and the marginalized people are all on our side. We are on their side, and those being colonized are on our side as well. That's the Palestinians. That's indigenous folks here on Turtle Island. Uh, Also, places like Sudan. Um, where else is Yemen? There's lots of people um, who are marginalized and who are being terrorized around the world. And honestly, if we all like stood together, we would be very, very powerful because we outnumber them. We
Yeah,
outnumber our oppressors.
yeah. It's just
Eh,
a order of the things.
You ever seen A Bug's Life?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They outnumber us 100 to 1, and if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
That was very good. That was very clearly it. That's where they are all. It's just that capitalism, right wingism is so intersectional
Yeah.
that they don't really need to put much work into it. They just all profit from that, and that's it. We on this side, we have to do it the heavy lifting with the thinking and the theory and all that because notice we never talked about oh because this is something that only comes up in those places like oh but should we support the Palestinians because we are like gay and they hate the gays
Oh
they
yeah,
want to kill
yes.
us all and they'll kill us soon as we set foot out of that plane. If the Israelis don't shoot it down, the Palestinian kids will just kill us with
What is the
rocks.
name of that? Isn't there a great organization fighting for Palestinian the resist Palestinian resistance, PLFP? Is that what
PFLP?
is that
Yeah,
the name of it? Am I getting that right?
I
Palestinian
think so.
Liberation. Yeah.
The old timey one that's been around for a while. Yep. Uh huh.
Yeah. Like they're very worth supporting. They're not Hamas, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, everything that happened like before things settled, like because we had the Nakba, the Nakba, the first Intifada, the second Intifada, Yasser Arafat, the Palestinian authority. It's just so many things, but they
Yeah.
want to reduce it too, and this is why we have reached that moment where all we hear about is Hamas and people will think that all Palestinians are is a bunch of brown Muslims dominated by these terrorists called Hamas, and
Right. And
that's why you
if
think
you support them, then you support gays getting thrown off buildings or some shit.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Funny how that works. But then you see Syria, and I've seen some people now like praising Ajolani, the ISIS guy that's now in charge of Syria, doing like a gesture of goodwill, saying that Jews are welcome back in Syria and something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, after they massacred a bunch of Christians and Alawites and who knows, a bunch of people. We got the news a couple months ago. They were talking. Even Western media had to talk about the massacres that were going on in Syria. But oh, they are so quiet now. And now this guy is like the new Zelensky, like Bizarro Zelensky, and just with a beard, but looking
You
all
know,
nice, all professional with a tie, shooting basketball, doing some hoops in the White House or in England. I don't know, but
no, I will
yeah,
say this. I will say this as a gay trans person. Even if even if a lot of Palestinian people are homophobic or
yeah,
transphobic,
uh-huh.
they still should not be trampled on by settlers.
Yeah, imagine
If
trade the
we
tape.
really if we really cared about homophobia and transphobia in Palestine or in Gaza or in anywhere else, we can educate people about it. There are no doubt countless people within the Palestinian population who are queer.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
I've seen it. I've seen it because I saw a group of queer people that gathered a bunch of supplies and got to Palestine
And yeah,
after acid fire. Um, and met up with a bunch of queer Palestinian people, some like orgs, and yeah, just took pictures and gave away aid. So it's like we know that they don't care about us, right?
Exactly.
They
It's
just
it's
using it like it. And who says these kind of things? Transphobes and homophobes. So now you care because talking about education, the first people that should be educated on these matters are the Americans.
yeah.
Because the president's an ignorant, illiterate, freaking transphobe. Same as the people around him. So, oh yeah, the Palestinians are gonna kill me. Unlike the Americans, have you seen Brokeback Mountain? Now all we have is Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, I do not want a country that is currently and actively stripping rights from queer and trans people to lecture me
Yeah,
about
right.
a color revolution in Gaza. I don't care.
Like, bro, you killed so many gay people. Pride, last Pride. They killed the guy who did John Redcorn's voice in King of the Hill.
Yep, they
They
killed him.
tortured and killed a trans man in New York in a hotel room.
Yep.
Like a woman was killed in Colombia. That's around the time that I was transitioning for the first time, and I'm like, that when I became all like, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna be very in your face. I'm not gonna be afraid of looking all hot on the streets because I'm not gonna let them win with intimidating us. Shit sucks. They're killing us off. They might kill me no matter what I do. So I'm
Exactly.
just gonna stand up for all of us
Not to
because I am
mention
also
not to mention all the black trans people that get killed and no
exactly.
media
It's
reports nothing on it.
I never had a chance. I was an ally, right?
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I was like, autistic. I don't know what it is. I was just a kid, and I think most children are like that. Maybe like they just want to be friends with everyone and for things to be like in the cartoons, like in My Little Pony. Like friendship is magic, and we all have a good time.
Yeah.
And then they hit us with all this stuff, and it's like it was easy for me to say, I'm an ally. I like these gay people. I'm not gay. I like girls, so I must be normal, but I would still fight for them in well, the time came and it's like, okay, well,
Girl, I'm
never
still
never stood a
gay.
choice. Never stood
Girl,
a choice.
I'm so gay that I like girls, guys, and everybody else. I'm super gay.
Yeah, I started noticing that too. Because again, I watched Brokeback Mountain and turns out straight men are not supposed to feel the way I felt when I watched that movie. So yeah, either way, and again, I'm almost all the minorities. I'm just too much of an atheist, edgy, materialist,
Yeah,
nihilist to like become Jewish. But otherwise, yeah, I'm already black, Arab, Latina, spicy Latina, trans woman.
yeah,
So yeah, pick your minority DI group. I'll represent it. I'll be the whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
you got
I would never convert to Judaism. It's not my forte. I'm not gonna be religious. I'm not a religious person. I'm barely a spiritual person. Uh, but being somebody who is also a member of several marginalized groups, I think it is my duty to stick with every other marginalized group through their struggles because we all
yep,
share our struggle
yep,
against
yep,
our oppressors.
yep. At the end of the day, we share one class, and we know there's more to it than class, but we can never forget the relationship that all these things have with our class circumstances and the way this society works and why things happen the way they happen. What is like a variable and what's like a constant.
Yeah. So
And we're dealing with a
next
constant most of. Yeah.
yeah, next time somebody accuses you of being anti-Semitic for protesting any form of Zionism, just I would tell that person to remind them that I am just as much against Zionism as I am against anti-Semitism. I will stand with any Jewish person against an anti-Semite, just as much as I would stand with anybody who's being colonized and oppressed by any settler.
Yep.
Period.
Same seats. That's the moral here, and we gave enough material away to like give everyone that's listening enough arguments and yeah, facts to back up these that we're trying to say
Yeah,
today here. On top of everything else that is like, yeah, we know Israel bad, but here's why and here's how, and
yep.
yeah,
Israel bad, Jewish people good.
yep,
Jewish people have always had a struggle going back as long as human history, going all the way back, and that should never be forgotten. That should never be lamented. Um, and but it is certainly no excuse to steal people's land.
nope, and that's just the bottom line. Cui bono and all that. Yeah, you don't need to have read all of Marx and Engels and Lenin and now no
Yeah,
Sekai even Sakai. Yeah,
I read Settlers once, and
settlers.
it was a really good read from Jay Sakai.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
We're
mean,
just
I didn't read it. I listened to the audiobook version, but still generally the same thing.
yeah. It's it's something that's nice to have there in the itinerary, just between other things that we are reading and watching and consuming on the matter. So it's pretty much that, just colonization in the 21st century of yeah, global capitalism and all that. And that's it. And that's it. And we shouldn't have to make it about anything else because yeah, it's really
Yeah,
not about anything else.
yeah.
Anything else is
Do not let
circumstantial.
the
Yeah,
ruling class divide us and conquer us.
yeah. Because that's how they defeat you. That's why Simon Bolivar used to say they have dominated us more through our ignorance than through their weapons. You know, an ignorant people is a blind instrument of their own destruction. So when they say like, "Oh, I want to fight the class struggle and not the cultural struggle," I kind of want to fight both because the cultural thing, the ideological thing, is like the biggest weapon that they have, and they know this is the propaganda brainwashing machine. Turns out the MK Ultra wasn't necessary because they already have other tools to program people to have us here where we are
Yep,
streaming genocides like nothing. And now that's normalized. That has been already been there's a precedent now and no different than last century. So yeah.
yep. And in closing, I like to give a big fuck you to Hillary Clinton,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
who basically just does not care about dead Palestinian children, and who wants to obfuscate for the genocide, and that she is a rotten person, and I don't like her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's kind of old news. I forgot she was even still alive. But I don't know if anyone's listening to her still, because now there's Kamala there. But I don't even know if anyone's listening to Kamala no more. I don't know what the Democrats are doing actually.
She's gonna run again.
Yeah, of course she's gonna run again. They're at an impasse right now. That's all the American deep
Yeah,
state is like offering. You can have Kamala, or you can have more Trump. We really don't care.
exactly. Well, thank you all for listening to Dystopia Now. This was
Yay!
episode 2. We will see you next week with a new episode of Dystopia Now. I don't know what we're going to do next week. I might have a guest on to talk about the origins of whiteness. That sounds like fun. Or my housemate, who is also trans, who also wants to talk about her trans experience, and we can talk about transgender oppression. And so there's lots of different opportunities coming up.
Yep.
Um, thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find some. Again, I'm still hella unemployed, but highly hireable. So at least for now, I am super available. We'll see about next week.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know a couple of things about this trans oppression stuff as well. So we will have enough to talk about. And, you know, it hasn't been uneventful in the world stage. I'm pretty sure we'll have something to shake our heads at.
Yep, yep. Everything's crumbling down. We'll find content somewhere.
Yay, late stage capitalism. Much
Yay!
material for stories and stuff. Thank you for Breaking Bad and all that.
All right, have a good week, everyone.
Bye bye. We off the air yet?
Almost. Yes, we have officially ended the video.
Yay.
Can you believe how fast that hour went? My God.
I can. This is just too easy. I'm used to it because I'm always yapping like this with my husband or whoever is around because I can't shut up, right? So this is too easy. I think we got the message across. I'm